So welcome back, ladies and gents. Hopefully you didn't go too far away from your screens because, well, we didn't. We were stuck here, obviously, checking out what's coming up next because it will be Team WD, the previous Huns underdogs, I do believe their name was, if I'm not mistaken, facing off against DeNova, the side who didn't quite show up as much as I'd like them to at the Gamescom finals, but it's a new season, it's a new start. Let's see what we're in for. Take us through the lineups here.
So we know these two teams, they were in Season 2, so not too many changes between them. In fact, no changes. These two keeping their lineups as they were before. Last time these two met, Team WD did actually take the win 3-1, so do bear that one in mind. So on the side of DeNova, we've got Ronnie, the team leader, the team captain, the team manager. We've got obviously Phoenix, the guy who calls the shots in game. He's the one who says, okay, so that we'll take that guy down first. We'll move there first. So he's the guy calling the shots. He's the one doing the play-by-play. Positive as well. He played quite well at Gamescom. Ostap Bender coming in there. Altogether, quite a talented bunch of players from DeNova, perhaps lacking a little bit of experience in many respects, lacking that synergy, which could mean that they have some quite unpredictable results. So Team WD as well, altogether, not so skilled as DeNova, some would say, but definitely have that synergy. They've been playing together for a long, long time. Huns Underdogs, their previous name, now they're picked up by Team WD, one of the older teams in Go4. So you know, we've got Caxa1, brilliant player as well, Mr. Chef, their team captain, amazing AMX 3090 player, really like the stuff he does, always pushing forwards, always the one to put himself first, which is what you want from a team captain. David plays his T1 very well. We've got Jaeger's move, plays the IS-3. Nicholas Black as well plays the IS-3s. Some very good tactics from him, some very good standard heavy tank play from him. But we will be going to our first map, which will be Himmelsdorf. Tank picking has yet to start, but it's been a pretty interesting kind of to and fro between these two teams, both equally capable of beating each other. One win each. DeNova took the first win, and then Team WD took the second win. That's in Season 2. Obviously, now we're on to Season 3. It's a whole new ball game in terms of how much experience these teams have. DeNova they have a little bit more confidence, but they still know they have a lot of issues to try and patch up from Gamescom. Playing, we can talk about Kazakru. They played them for the small finals, hoping to get the third place, but they kind of just fell apart. I mean, Kazakru, definitely not a team that does so well at offline events. But they got into the second day with some very good results in the first day, going through the winners bracket, in fact, but just failed.
They didn't really
turn up in the second day, but they still managed to beat DeNova convincingly. I think it was 3-1. I think they only lost like Ensk or Himmelsdorf. So Kazakru definitely need to improve stuff, but DeNova also need to improve stuff, perhaps even a lot more. So we'll see how they can do that here. But yeah, we can jump in. I think tank picking is just about to get underway. Although I'm not sure if every single player's joined the game. I think we're having that problem again.
Not yet. Give them a sec. We're rushing these poor guys. You know. Keep it chilled. But anyway, keeping in mind the way these two play. Okay, at the start of the season, excuse me, DeNova did pick up the victory on Playday 6. Now that was very early in the start of Season 2. Yeah. Now, as the season progressed, teams, some adapted very quickly to the updates, with the lack of artillery. And we saw, eventually Team WD beating them 3-1 in, I believe it was Playday 17. So these two have been going back and forth. Yeah. Now it's who's been doing the most prep during that downtime during mid-season and in between the two seasons, especially who's been doing the work, who's adapted, who's improved. Now this is what it's going to mean to me is the fact that who's really been doing the homework while the season's been down. Yeah, I mean 2 weeks. We had a week between DreamHack and the beginning of Season 2. These guys have had 2 weeks to kind of, I think, rest and recuperate. I think that's the most important, not getting straight back into the game, just playing, some fun random battles, perhaps even taking a little bit of a break for a week, and then spending the last week, obviously, training and getting used to the game again. But hopefully, they're used to it and they kind of got a little bit of training, got back into the swing of things. 2 weeks is plenty to do that. And I think maybe Team WD have a lot more to prove. They're our latest pro team, so they want to be showing that they can actually step up to the plate. They can get that top 6 position, which will bring them to the Season 3 finals. So they have a lot to prove, as do DeNova, but slightly less, I'd say. But we can actually just jump into tank picking, I believe, unless we want to speak to Melly. No. No, they're getting underway. Let Melly rest. Right. Let her rest. So AMX 6100 T1 from both teams. This is Himmelsdorf, our first map of this second match we saw. Obviously, we saw
Evil Panda squad just take it 3-1 against our new T1 SB Ulanska Fantasia. Second pick from DeNova will be the T1 on the MX5100 as well. So going for that initial high damage rolls, the not high damage roll, high general damage, I guess you could call it, 1.8k from that autoloader that you can connect all 6 shells, 300 average damage. Using them pretty much just to back up the IS-3s if they do end up picking their tank, which I think they will do. Really good combination of tanks, perfect mirroring of tanks. But now we're waiting on Team WD to pick their second line of tanks. Obviously, this is how tank picking works. 2 tanks picked by one team, 2 tanks picked by another team, until you get to that 7th pick, which is where you usually see, you know, the wild cards, I guess you could call them, coming out. You know, the tanks which you perhaps wouldn't expect them to pick, the ones which are really able to kind of throw everything into the air for the other team. But now just waiting for the next pick, which will be the T1, the MX5100. So far, both teams with 2 MX5100s, 2 T1s. DeNova not messing about, 2 IS3s for them as well, not going for that 110, which we saw them take before. But that's not too unusual. Just going to wait on Team WD. Yeah, they're actually going for the 110 and the IS3, so that's going to be interesting to see. We just saw Ulanska Fantasia not quite using that tank to its full potential last time around against Evil Panda squad, but can we see something different from Team WD? We'll have to wait and see. So T69 from DeNova will be their last pick. Strange that Team WD didn't pick the 110 as their last one. You would have expected them to do that since that's the odd pick, but that could even mean that they're going to pick something even more unusual. Nope, it will be the T69. Bit unusual, but pretty standard. I think in a couple of days' time on Thursday, we won't be seeing that tank so much anymore. But that's both the teams set up and ready. We've got double AMX600, double IS3, T69, double T1 for the side of DeNova, a 110, an IS3, a double AMX600, T69, double T1 from the side of TWD.
Yeah, and I've got to ask you, who do you think this map suits a little bit better?
Definitely DeNova. Yep. I don't think DeNova dropped a single match again, on Gamescom, I believe it was. Yeah, Gamescom, they didn't drop a single match apart from against Kazna Crew, and they played the map like 5 times. They only just about lost that one as well. So DeNova, really, really good on Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, so hopefully one of the guys can let them know which teams we should be put on towards. Hopefully our admins can do that. But I want to see what Team WD can bring. These guys, you know, beat this very team the last time they met head-to-head. That's the important part here. So we are just going to wait for these guys to get the nod to chuck us onto which sides. Hopefully Stephen, our beautiful assistant, who's not allowed on camera because the attention will be taken away from Melly, which is the sad part. And he's a good Hodor-looking man. I'll give him that, right? Good-looking man.
Ooh.
We've made Melly cackle in the background. We're glad we put the mic down because she's off on one now. This is all I'm here for. We are almost ready to get underway here. But do bear in mind that Himmelsdorf is one of those kind of archetype maps that really do display what World of Tanks can be. We saw a very aggressive one the first time we saw it today. But it's not normally played like that. It's normally blow for blow, back and forth, till that one breaking point happens, and it kind of develops from that. We are just going to hope that someone can remove themselves as a T1, I do believe.
Stephen's simple mind, I think.
Bless him. Bless him. Bless his little heart. He's not allowed to be touching things, Dawn. We don't allow him to have a keyboard and a mouse, but you know, we've slipped up. It's the first day here, obviously, in the WoT Pro League Season 3. It's the first day that we've actually been able to get back into this. So I'm warming up, everyone else is, and it's going to be just a display of who's done their homework on the time down, who's put the time in the correct places, whether it be taking a break, whether it be actually going through tactics, watching VODs, going through demos, you know, practicing themselves on their executions. It's all about different team compositions and what works for them. That's a big difference here. Some teams will do better just taking a little bit of a break, taking a little bit of, you know, a week's hiatus almost, and just refreshing their minds and, you know, staying, you know, fresh towards the game. So, guys, hopefully the countdown will begin. And while we wait for that to happen, we can get you introduced to a little bit of a video just displayed to you by the beautiful tones of Joseph Miller. And let's have a look as to how Himmelsdorf can be played.
Himmelsdorf is the city maps of city maps. It's a small one, being 600 by 600 meters. There are 3 routes of attack: the hill, the banana, and the train side. The middle area is relatively easy to push, however can end up in disaster as you can be flanked from every side. The road, often called banana, allows for direct head-on assaults but requires a lot of resources. Both the railroad area and the road next to it are good routes of attack, being very open and straight. However, for those very same reasons, you can be easily caught out and taken down. The map features many densely housed areas, which provides good places for engagements and routes of attack. Teams must be aware of the various routes their opponents can take through the map, as well as the hull-down positions enemies can take throughout the entire map. The trick with Himmelsdorf is to catch an enemy tank unsupported by his teammates and then use that advantage to collapse on the entire enemy team.
So, welcome to Himmelsdorf. We will be seeing the blue team being Team WD facing off against the one and only golden DeNova. What are we seeing so far here?
DeNova, really unusual, actually pushing the majority of their forces straight towards the hill. Season 2 saw the kind of guys pushing away from the hill, not liking the tactics so much, but DeNova changing up for Season 3. They got Ostat Bender, Agriel, Winnie the Pooh, all pushing out there. Phoenix is going to take the charge. Bad News, stay in the back, trying to cover the 8 road, the banana road. Depends what you like to do it. Ron from he's pushed up towards the middle, trying to get the spots out, but DeNova straight away pushing down again. I don't know why they drove halfway up the hill. Maybe they wanted a scenic route. But yeah, not liking that tactic at all. Team WD pushed up towards the 1-2 line, 3 line, depends what you like to call it. They're going up there, trying to get some initial spots out. YR's going to be there, trying to take him down. I think he's actually spotted, so can they connect the first shell, get the first kill? Obviously, on Himmelsdorf for T1 is so important. But aggressive play from both these two teams. They know how to take the initiative. They watched the previous match. They know every team wants to be aggressive. Really unusual, because usually at the beginning of the season, teams play quite passively. But these guys completely destroying the status quo. Happy to push forwards early on. Happy to try and get the initial advantage. Winnie the Pooh's trying to peek around in his IS-3. He's going to find something. Valiant 7 in that T1 is going to be there. But Nicholas Black is in the background trying to get the first shell. He is playing that 110. First shell 442. And Winnie Pooh's going to take one down. He's down to 1193 as well in the IS-3. But first engagement.
Yeah, indeed. And actually, Team WD are splitting off. They're not going head-to-head with Agriel and Winnie the Pooh. They're facing down Phoenix here. Nicholas Black, the first to receive a shell, getting back to way of touch. And you see the 505 coming in. Doug trying to join in as well. They've taken him down fairly low. The IS-3 will finish him off and allow a little bit of a through path for the vast majority of Team WD. You can see one player being the rotation pin. Merkizio is laying down the fire. Good connection onto Agriel, taking him down to 807, but he will fall to his hands. But in the meantime, the rest of his side, looping around the back, Nicholas Black being caught in the back of his heels. Has to be careful there. Just a little bit of fire going through from that IS-3 from Bad News. And they've pretty much got themselves surrounded. This execution is a little bit curious. Unless they can start really working these frags back and getting the damage dealt, they're in trouble. Ostet Bender is going low, though. That T69 of Mr. Chef coming around at the best of times, pincering them in and taking them down to 396. But Team W have kind of lost eyes on the opposition here. So they could be in a little bit of trouble. And Nicholas Black is feeling the pressure there. He's the man at the back right there. He's taken to 159 and he's been taken out straight away. Mr. Chef does get the avenging kill, but it's a little bit messy here from Team WD.
Very messy as well. He's going to push down to Agriel. 320 coming onto him.
Indeed, he's now in trouble. And actually, the 505 is doing the work there, and that AMX 5100 takes him down. IS-3 versus IS-3 now, and the advantage of players is still in Team WD's favor, which is quite surprising considering how aggressive they've gone. So Doug is just edging around corner by corner, trying to keep eyes on Bad News. First shell doesn't land. Now it's time for Doug to go. Ooh, teasing around. He knows there's a player backing him up. That's Winnie the Pooh. Mr. Chef focusing him, but Bad News is in trouble. 668. Can Doug get that shot? He needs it to land. Oh, they are dancing so close now. Mr. Chef needs to back away. 159 left on him. Doug did not manage to cover him off just enough. And now Winnie the Pooh getting into the action. 421 damage dealt towards him, leaving him on 149. That IS-3 playing it perfectly, but Doug seemed to be fairly out of this one. And there we go. The focus ignored onto Doug. The cover was not managed to be created, and Mr. Chef will fall. Here's the return, though. 35 HP on Bad News, getting rammed there, you can see, going in. Oh, my word, the 505, left on only 2 HP, still does the damage. Insane bit of play from him. 5 kills this time, and that is how you play Himmelsdorf. If you really want to take the bull by the horns, that is certainly how you do it. Ron could do some work. Not going to happen. 4 kills to the 505 there, and that aggressive bit of play really paying off for Team WD. Wow, what a start.
Absolutely amazing start by them. That's what they want. They want to get the momentum to go in. That was quite surprising because I thought they would actually lose that one from the first 30 to 40 seconds because you know, they pushed around, they got the initial advantage, killing Phoenix in his T69, which was really good, but they lost quite a lot of HP at that point. And when they pushed around to try and get behind DeNova kind of all came together. They all kind of merged, which I thought would allow them...
That would be their point.
Yeah, exactly. I thought they would be able to, you know, consolidate themselves and just push in. But that didn't happen. They kind of segregated again. They all kind of playing as different players, and it all kind of got a bit messy a bit. And then it all kind of 1 versus 1, 2 versus 1, and not very much instinctive play. And it was a bit horrible from DeNova, which is quite surprising because they are one of my favorite teams. Well, they're my favorite team anyway, but one of my favorite teams on Himmelsdorf. I would say they're top 3. So Team WD coming in and really picking them apart like that with such an aggressive push.
It's unusual to see.
It's really unusual to see, and it's great to see because they haven't been doing so well. They finished 7th in Season 2, and if they can continue this one, obviously now going into our second map, which I believe will be Ruinberg, they're going to do some serious damage.
They certainly are. They're a capable side, but I do believe the tank picking has begun. So let's throw you into that screen so you can see what's going down so far and what choices are being made. And what are we seeing at the moment?
So we are onto Ruinberg, our second map, another city map, in fact. So going on the first result, we'd say Team WD have the advantage now. So MX5100 T1 coming out from WD, T1 MX3090 coming out from DeNova. So the 5100 really fast, well, pretty fast, and a lot of firepower. MX3090 really fast. Not so much firepower, but still punches a kick. So 5100 T1 to come
Punches a kick.
Punches a kick.
That's some next-gen karate move coming out there.
Mate.
I want to see what that goes down
I think Stevens attempted that before.
I think he just fell on his arse before, but bless him for trying.
Indeed. So 5100 T1 from WD, DeNova T69 T1, and then the second to last pick from WD will be the double T69. Second to last pick from DeNova will be the 5100 and the T69. So both teams liking those kind of auto-loading tanks as we've seen for the last probably 3 seasons, in fact. So double AMX 5100, double T69, and waiting for that last pick from WD, which will be the MX 3090, and now waiting for the last pick from DeNova. So we'll have to see how they can use the 5100s, because last time we saw them play against DeNova with the 5100s, didn't go so well. We had a draw, I believe. Finally, they could make them work, and then when they made them work, they actually did take the win. But hopefully they've learned their lessons. Hope they can bring them into the fight a bit earlier on. Last pick from DeNova will be the 5100. So that'll be a double 5100, AMX 3090, double T69, double T1.
Got to ask you quickly, do you think we're going to see a city presence? Gamescom, that's where they favoured. Very weird to see. Is this what we're going to see here?
I'm hoping I'm going to see it there. I think that's the next level for Ruinberg. DeNova, maybe not such a city team on Ruinberg. Definitely like go towards that village. Team WD, although kind of switch up a little bit. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, interesting indeed. But let's find out how Ruinberg can be played.
Ruinberg is one of our newest city maps, and it's fairly large, being 800 by 800 meters. There are 3 main routes of attack: the roads leading to the city, the road going through the middle, and the village area. Each of these have 2 important areas to control. The city has very large roads and plenty of opportunities for teams to flank. The long roads also provide for good sniping areas as well as corner shooting. Teams often push through the village area, and once controlled, the team can move on to the enemy's base. You should pick heavy tanks with high alpha damage for corner sniping, as well as a faster tank for the middle spot.
So that was your kind of basic idea of what you can be in for here on Ruinberg. We will be seeing Team WD starting in the south in that blue, whereas in the north in that golden yellow, it will be DeNova, the guys who didn't really turn up on that last map. But take us through what we're seeing so far.
Well, we can see DeNova kind of edging towards the village, although they're definitely not going straight there. They're kind of going along the middle road, the kind of half-moon circle going across and trying to get some initial spots out, perhaps with the T69s and the MX3090 to back them up. The MX3090 will be there to spot, the T69 will be there to do the damage. First shot coming out, Doug Ez actually being spotted from Team WD. I think he's one of their new players, in fact. But Team WD playing pretty standard. 5100 goes right to the back. Obviously, it doesn't want to get caught out by the T69s, and the rest of the team's there just to try and provide the sniping damage. First shell does connect. 1074 left on bad using his T69. So yeah, first bit of damage coming onto DeNova from Team WD. They have the hit point advantage, although it's a kind of a small advantage at this point. Agriel's pushing forwards now in his 5100. Obviously, he could be in trouble, but both teams double 5100s. Which team will be able to make it work? First shell coming out. Agriel's going to take a lot of damage.
Yeah, indeed. Peeking a little bit too far there, taking down to 626. Not sure why he didn't expect those MX5100s to be down that line. Doug is a great bit of rotation around the side, taking him down to 3-8-1. First kill does, though, happen in the fact that Phoenix did manage to take down 505. So didn't actually see that one going down, but Doug certainly looking to try and get back into this as he's laying down further fire towards Agriel, not getting the connection he wants to. There we go, finally does land it. 1-4-2 left on him. He does manage the shot and takes him down. And now we see it all kind of even here.
Even Stevens, both lost to 5100. Really bad play from both teams, to be honest. 5100 tried to get the initial shots out onto Agriel. Did manage to do it, took him down pretty low, although I think they should have just left the MX-39 to do the rest of the work once he had hit a couple of shots. Shouldn't have got spotted, shouldn't get taken down. But one AMX-5100 for one AMX-5100. Phoenix has just taken another one. He's down to 1061 in his T69. But I think DeNova have to be careful here. They can't really push across this field because they get sniped down, obviously, by those T69s. And I think at the moment, Team WD have the information advantage. DeNova only got the initial spots out, but now don't know where the rest of their team is. So we can see if Team WD is actually going to use that advantage to push them through this one. Obviously, 1-0 up now, taking on Himmelsdorf. But bad news pushing forwards in his T69. We could see them first move. Phoenix takes 240 average from the MX-3098 down to 821. So he's got to be careful. Team WD definitely now in the advantage in terms of hit points. So DeNova have to make this one count. They have to try and come up with an ingenious tactic, and they do have the brains behind the operation. Ron is the one who has it. But Douglas is getting spotted.
Yeah, he is, and the fire has come through, but this man's been such a linchpin so far in that 1390, really doing the damage and then backing away, literally like a wasp, in and out, stinging the opposition, not overly staying his welcome, and he's just playing it perfectly, keeping Phoenix at arm's length. He's literally centimeters away, but that's enough. Oh, he does receive a big shell there, though, taking him down to 3-2-7, make it 87 now as more fire comes in from the rear. He's in trouble. How the hell is he going to get out of there? Well, he's not. I think YR claimed that one, or it might have been bad news, actually, but certainly DeNova get back into this, and that was the frontline player almost for Team WD out of there, so they've lost a lot of their vision. They still have one T1 up by the village, but by the small village in the zero line area, but the rest of them all quite far back, and Nicholas Black and Mr. Chef now need to get that connection onto the likes of Ostap Bender and Bad News.
That was that brainy play from DeNova, really coming out with the good tactics, really thinking about how can we play into this one, how can we take advantage of any kind of mistake that Team WD has done. They gauge the fact that Team WD hadn't moved their tanks towards the southern side of that little village area just here and just kept them where they were. That means Douglas would have been unsupported. They guessed it right. They took down Douglas in his AMX-3090. He was already down to 600 HP, so that was a 3-shotter from Bad News, making all 4 shots count apart from one, which I believe hit the track. So good sniping from him. Now DeNova have the advantage straight away. 16-8 you can see in terms of tier points at the top of your screen. So YR going to retreat now. They have the 8-point advantage. 5 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. Phoenix is down to 8-5-5-6, so he's pretty much a 3-shot, potentially a 2-shot, pretty much a 2-shot for your 5100, 300 average damage times 2, 600. Basics maths, I have to do it because Lauren can't do it. Phoenix is going to try and push forward in his T69, not spotted anything. He's got a good hold down position here because obviously T69's most powerful part of its turret is its turret. Most part of his tank is its turret, so the wall providing good cover for him. So that'll mean any push from Team WD would mean a wasted shell into that wall first.
Yeah, indeed, and Team WD are getting a little bit more aggressive. They've edged towards the village here. Just Nicholas Black and Mr. Chef, those two T69s who were sat back a little bit further away, have made their way forward. So trying to read the opposing side's play that may be coming out and slowly gaining ground. But what sort of execution do you think Team WD need to do now to actually get back into this one and get, a little bit more of an advantage over the opposition?
Well, they have to focus out Phoenix. That's the first thing. If they focus him out and don't lose too much HP, or just don't lose a tank full stop, they can lose as much HP as they want and then retreat. Then they're going to be smiling. They're going to be happy. Makizio now being spotted in that 5100. Phoenix is going to try and react to that one. But no, Team WD have to push forward. Spontos Kirk. I'm going to call him Bob. In fact, Phoenix taking him down. But Makizio is going to be in the back.
Yeah, Makizio has received 1 shell there, knocking him off that lovely HP. Now down to 1170. But Phoenix, knowing where they are, might be more trouble than it's worth. So he has to be a little bit careful. More shots coming from YR. Some connecting onto Mr. Chef there. 884, 630, 358. He's going all the way down right now, and he gets taken down by Bad News. And it's literally like a firing squad right now, just staring down Team WD, who can barely get a shell back. couple of blind shots coming out from Makizio as he loses eyes on the opposition. Now with only 2 teammates standing beside him, he's in trouble. Nicholas Black barely able to get into this, and the other tier 1 is so far away it makes no odds. So Makizio is literally so important right now, it's unbelievable. But I don't even see this being possible for Team WD at this point.
Definitely really hard. It's a massive mountain to climb. No idea why Mr. Chef just drove straight up the middle of that street. That was just really bad play by him, not thinking at all what his move is. He should have gone through the village. He should have tried and got some cover, because driving along a straight street against DeNova is just suicide. And Phoenix got away with it as well. So he's on 3-3-1. One shot for the 5100. He's trying to try and get some shots out here. He does actually find Nicholas Black, does connect one, 254 down to 1096 on Nicholas Black's AMX 3090. Winnie the Pooh taking down Berlin in that T1, so good exchange for them. And now Mikizio, he's going to surge around, he's going to try and take out Phoenix.
Yeah, trying to get the engagement into his favor, but there's Ostap Bender supplying the backup that they needed. 3-1-2, make it 40. He is out of there. Phoenix will claim the kill. Ostap Bender went fairly low, 6-2-3. But now it's all eyes on Nicholas Black, and it's not looking good. YR darting around in that 1390, looking hungry for the kill. Literally just using the speed of that 1390 just to hammer him down. 601 left on YR, but Nicholas Black's the one in trouble. And there we have it. Impressive play coming out from DeNova, really finding that reply that they needed in that second map there.
Very good play by DeNova. Reactionary, they kind of took their 5100 out, and then they got their own 5100 killed. So it was all even, but then from that point onwards, they showed that they had the superior positioning. They had the kind of brains to push forward, because that Doug guy got killed in his AMX 30. That Doug guy, he got killed in his AMX 3090 in the village by some good sniping by Bad News and YR. That was just brainy. They weren't happy to sit back and just kind of draw it out. They wanted to take the win, obviously having lost Himmelsdorf. And from that point onwards, it was an uphill struggle for Team WD, having lost the extra tier 8 tank. They tried to push forwards. They could have taken it back, but Mr. Chef driving up that straight road and just getting blown away within 10 seconds, I believe it was.
Yeah.
That was kind of sealed the deal a bit for DeNova. So one map apiece. We'll be going to our third map, which will be Steps. So away from the city maps on to the open maps. What are you expecting?
I have no idea right now. Team WD on the first map looked insanely good. Like, they went aggressive. They actually handled it. When it kind of fell apart a little bit, they kind of glued it back together. On the second map there, I felt as though they barely got into it. They didn't kind of find their comfort zone. So it depends on if they feel comfortable or not. So I don't know really with these guys. They're very much a hit and miss side. Sometimes they're hot, sometimes they're a little bit cold towards it and they don't get into it. But what tank picks are we seeing so far?
So the initial tank picking has come out from both teams. MX 1390 T1 from DeNova and Team WD. T1 T69 from DeNova and Team WD. So nothing surprising to start us off with. DeNova picking the MX 1390 T69 for their third pick indeed. Second to last pick at least. And that will be the same for Team WD. So initial stuff pretty much the same. Last pick from DeNova will be the MX 1390 and expecting the same, or maybe it'll be a T69 from the side of Team WD. But it's a 50-50, I think, depending on what kind of tactics they want to play. Do they want to play a little bit more defensive? They pick the T69. A little bit more aggressive. They pick the extra AMX 1390. A little bit surprised that Team WD isn't picking that 5 AMX 1390 lineup we saw them use at the beginning of Season 2, which was absolutely deadly. If played correctly, obviously, just pouncing on any mistake the other team did with utter devastation. And the last pick from Team WD will be the AMX 1390. So triple AMX 1390, double T69, double T1 from both teams, and it will be on Steps. So same as we saw in the previous 1SBU Landscape Fantasia against Evil Panda Squad. Mirrored lineups, so again about tactics and execution as opposed to maybe that kind of random factor that can come with an odd tank pick.
Yeah, indeed. So we'll find out to see who's really prepared for this one. I don't think this map really drastically suits one over the other. I think that there's quite an even map for these guys to show what they're made of. And I can't wait to see it. I want to see who's going to get that little bit of an advantage here, because it is, as you said, all even, all square right now. So it's about getting that little bit of momentum, a little bit of confidence going, okay, guys, we're building that lead. Let's get that final couple of maps. Let's get this season kicked off to the right way. Both teams struggled. DeNova just about pipped these guys to the post to go to the finals. There's certainly some bad blood between these two in that aspect that really Team WD did deny them. But let's go into a video regarding Steps.
Steps is the other open map in the map pool, being 1,000 by 1,000, having no urban areas. There are 3 primary routes of attack: the trench, the rocky area to the left, and the middle road. The road offers direct routes to the enemy's base, but despite having a staggering amount of cover along the way, you are vulnerable to attack from all sides. The trench area provides for great engagements as it's only a few hills and rocks to cover the teams. Most of the engagements occur around this rock, the winner of which gains a crucial foothold on the map. The rocky left area provides the most cover for attacking and defending teams. It's essential that you pick tanks that can traverse from one side of the map to the other rapidly. They also must be able to get to the various key locations as quickly as possible. That is the key to victory.
Well, we saw it before, but we thought we'd treat you to Joe Miller's voice. I miss him too. He's not with us currently. It sounds like I've just made him sound like he's dead, but he's actually in LA. Don't worry, he's still very much alive and kicking. But anyway, in the south, in blue, it will be Team WD facing it off against the golden yellow DeNova. Both all even, all square. What are we seeing so far?
Yeah, I'm not sure if kicking is the right word, but first of all, we see YR pushing over towards the trench side. Phoenix, bad news, are going to support him from behind, but we see a pretty strong engagement at the beginning. Team WD pushing over towards the trench side as well.
Wow.
279 coming on to Dougez, otherwise known as the Doug guy. That's my new nickname for him. But Bad News also receiving one, and both teams quite happy to have this jousting match at the beginning.
Yeah, they really are just headbutting into this, sort of engagement. Now, Nicholas Black being pushed back. 1-1-3 left onto him in that T69. Dougez trying to find his way around. 5-6-7, literally being pummeled into the face at the moment. 3-3-3 left on him. He's going absolutely crazy in that 1390, chasing down YR. I don't know if he's got a bit of a death sentence there. You don't want to be going head first into DeNova. But right now, it's Phoenix and Bad News keeping eyes on YR finding another target. The damage is being dealt everywhere. TWD going crazy, I do not know. But Nicholas Black wants to get in. Dougez needs to get the hell out of there. Ariel already finding Mr. Chef. This is not looking good for Team WD unless they can get that fire focus right now. Bad News going low, 170. Phoenix should be coming up next. Nicholas Black did get him down. He gets the second as well. He's fairly low, but I do believe he's just got the 2 kills there. And also Bender quickly deals with the biggest threat on the field right now, as Marquezio is the last man really alive in that little skirmish, trying to get away in that 1390. Gets a little cheeky shell onto YR, and the situation cooling down a touch, but those T1s swarming around 505. Oster Bender now into the action. He takes down Marquezio, and now 505, the only man with some real firepower left standing, surrounded by the opposition. Further shells coming in from Oster Bender. He's ramming down Winnie the Pooh. That's a horrible childhood kind of ruin for me, but there we go. He's the last to fall really with that firepower for the Team WD side, as the only T1s are left standing. What on earth just happened then?
They just kind of decided to say screw it and let's just have a massive engagement. And that DeNova skill coming into fruition. They had the better coordination, they had the better damage in terms of focus fire, also managing to defend their own teammates very well. And it just didn't look like Team WD could stand up to the might of DeNova then. It was just incredible to see that kind of synergy between the team coming into its full potential. 3 MX-3090 still alive, 2 T1s still alive for the side of DeNova, and obviously Team WD coming off a lot worse, only leaving Balint in that T1, who will get a kill actually onto Ron there. But that was intoxicating to watch from DeNova. Finally, an Osterbender taking down Balint 7 on the T1, and It will be a win for DeNova.
Big win for DeNova then, really running with the pace of the game. They dealt with the quick push. They literally rammed into each other, headbutting straight away. It was unreal stuff there, literally going face to face. Absolutely insane. But how come DeNova came out the better of that situation than Team WD?
I think DeNova just had the better positions. Obviously from the north, which DeNova spawned in, I think you just get a better place. You have that kind of mounds which you can sit behind. The T69s have the hull down ability, having a lot of gun depression. They can shoot over it and do the initial damage. That's what gave them the step ahead. Team WD going for the trench to start off with, which is very risky in the south. We don't see it working that much. We saw a game come.
You can't see why.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. Full stop. And they just proved it once again. They got focused down early. They lost the HP. Tried to respond with a couple of misses onto the T69s or bounces, and then that allowed DeNova just to push on and do the final few blows. So just a good solid play by DeNova. A little bit of a short-sighted play from Team WD.
Yeah, I'm still kind of blown away with how quickly that went down. I think it was literally 2 minutes.
Yeah,
it was pretty much, it was done, excluding that little T1 hunt towards the end. Kind of crazy stuff. Anyway, that is the 3rd map dealt with, I do believe. We're going on to our 4th now.
Yep.
So it will be Ensk. We've seen it before. We saw a really impressive game where the likes of, I believe it was New Multi-Show, had a lot to do. Couldn't quite manage it. But what are we seeing so far from the picks?
So T1 AMX 5100 to start off us with on Team WD side, and that will be mirrored by DeNova, the AMX 5100, the T1 being picked. So we're expecting triple AMX 3090, perhaps MX 5100, like we saw from Evil Panda Squad and 2 IS3s, which didn't work out for them, or that T69, or perhaps since it is DeNova, that 110 could be brought back into this. So next picks will be the 5100 and the T1. So getting those 2 MX 5100, those 2 T1s out the way to start off with, as they are the most predictable picks. And there we go. Although from the other side, the IS3 and the 110 being picked by WD. Did actually work out for them quite well on Himmelsdorf, so they could be thinking, okay, it could work here as well, since it is pretty similar. It is another big city map, and we usually have the same kind of brawls as Himmelsdorf. Double IS3 for DeNova. Last pick from Team WD will be the 5100, and the last pick from DeNova, I believe, will also be a 5100, perhaps a 110. But I'll be at the T69. Okay, so they're going to go for something completely standard here. Double AMX 600, double IS3, T69, double T1. While DeNova going for the double 5100, the IS3, the 110, no, the triple AMX 600, the 110, the IS3, and the double T1.
So who do you think this map suits best?
I'm going to say, well, I think DeNova definitely strong, very, very strong. They beat Virtus Pro on this one, on one of their maps at Gamescom in the semi-finals with a crushing push. So they have the confidence, but looking at triple 5100 lineup, they can be utilized well, like they did, like we've seen them do before, Team WD. It could be deadly in the right hands, and that 110 also be able to provide that kind of armor, which you need on Ensk, could also be very good.
Okay, so you're backing who?
I'm going to say DeNova.
Go for DeNova. Just to kind of, make it all even, I will go for Team WD. I felt as though it was a little bit of an awkward exchange on the last map there, but maybe we're going to see a little bit of a difference here. We will be looking at Ensk. So let's get a little bit of an explanation video from the one and only Joe Miller.
Ensk is a simple map on the face of it, but requires the most skillful team play to play properly. Being such a small map at 600 by 600 meters, the areas of attack are confined to through the city, through the railroads, or through the green zone. The fearsome city side, often famed for its fierce firefights, the railroads and green zone areas are hard to play as they have many death alleys. The railroads provide little cover but good sniping locations. Tanks can shoot over and navigate through the trains to ambush and weaken the opposition. When playing Ensk, always keep in mind that teams may try and rush for the cap and not go for the city brawl. Also, take tanks that can both deal a lot of damage and react quickly to situations.
So that was Ensk overall, but we are going to be watching Team WD starting in the north in blue, facing off against the golden, rather yellow DeNova, who currently have the map advantage here, 2-1. So what are we seeing so far?
DeNova not messing about, pushing straight into the city. Winnie the Pooh taking up the front. Bad News and Ostat Bender behind, Agriel to the left. The only guy really out of that kind of band is Phoenix, which is to be expected because he is playing that T69. But Bontos Gersk kind of pushing forwards, getting the initial damage onto Ron. He will get taken down by Nicholas Black playing that 110, so he's going to be there to do the first initial kill. Good shots by him, and that will give Team WD a bit of confidence. Also, another shot coming onto Team WD there. That'll bring the kind of things into balance here. 1,085 health left on that IS3, but DeNova quite passive. We saw Evil Panda Squad push straight into the latter half of the map. Team DeNova quite happy to sit back, quite happy to wait for Team WD to push forwards, which I think from the south is the best plan.
Yeah, and you can see them kind of looking towards this one line. Nicholas Black just kind of side-scraping his way down, making sure he can kind of get a good glimpse to it. 505 not far behind. Makias Dior laying in wait as well, whereas that IS3 being kind of the linebacker almost, just waiting to receive the damage and back away when he can, but he's more just holding ground than anything, as is Mr. Chef, keeping eyes on that little square where you see most of the exchanges going through. But I'm wondering if they're going to make a push down this one line. Do you think they might go for it, or is that a little bit too risky?
Oh, it's a little bit risky because you can get flanked basically, and Agriel is there with the 5100 to try and deal with anything, and the kind of damage he can put out within 10 seconds, which would perhaps take you that long to drive a significant portion of that one line, would be pretty much too much to come back from, and so that's going to be a hard one to do. Although it could be possible, unlikely I think. Winnie the Pooh, he's going to try and get some proxy spots out on the IS3. Although he is kind of out on a limb, and it would take DeNova at least I would say 10 to 15 seconds to really get in a position where he can try and where they can try and back him up even, and he can reverse and get out of there. So he's got to be careful. He can get focused down, and with that triple MX-5100 lineup that Team WD have gone for, he could be in big trouble. But we see a little bit of a change of guard here. Phoenix is quite happy to play the train side. Usually you just see him sitting behind this kind of house here. But why aren't Phoenix not going to do that? Going to push over towards back towards their base, back towards the camping tanks in the city. Team WD also playing quite passive. Maybe both these teams want to draw this one out because they've both been pretty aggressive from the get-go on the other 3 maps. At the moment, DeNova 2-1 up, taking Steps and Ruhenberg. Team WD obviously taking it on Himmelsdorf though. So Team WD can come back into this one, but that will bring it to 2-2, and that will mean we will have a season 1 point to each, a season point one season point each even, which should be all right. It'll be a little bit of a kind of like, okay, your team's good, my team's good, we'll get a point each.
I don't know. I don't feel as though these would go for it, though. The point for me with these two is the fact that they've been going back and forth quite some way. And Team WD got denied almost to go to the finals because they just finished, I think it was 1 point behind DeNova. Literally that close between these two. So there's certainly some rivalry there. Certainly some, not necessarily bad blood, but there's that to be kept in mind. That I don't think either of these want to start off with a draw, if you know what I mean. They don't want to be going, okay, well, at least we're all even again. You know,
yeah.
Someone wants to get a little bit of a leg up almost to kind of go, okay, we're still a little bit better. Maybe we can get, you know, where it matters this time around. Is anyone moving at the moment? Because literally, for Team WD, they are dug in so deep, they are not moving at all.
Phoenix is not going to do much. He's trying to get a couple of blind shots up that road. Doggers will get spotted. He doesn't get connected, though. He's pushing forwards, knowing that he could get connected from behind. Phoenix reloading. He shot 2 shells out of the 4. But he's going to push forwards, I think, because, well, it would be a good idea for him to push forwards because the whole of Team WD is in the city, and they don't have the T-69, so perhaps DeNova missing a little bit of a trick there. But yeah, we're now 5 minutes and 33 seconds to the end, 4 minutes and 30 seconds in. Agriel and DeNova keeping a close eye on this one line, expecting a push from Team WD up that, and because, you know, the kind of firepower they will within that lineup, the 110, the triple AMX-39, triple AMX-5100, IS-3, double T1, that kind of damage they can do, it's a good idea for them to make sure that they don't push up just a straight line.
Yeah, you can see the blind shots are being put down through the 2 and 3 line. Generally, Duggers just laying them down. No real connections. We saw Agriel receiving a shell, I can believe, from Nicholas Black earlier on in that 110, but nothing too insane. It's a tentative close situation. You can see he's still trying to get those connections there, but nothing going to come too easily of that. And I think we are going to see this one played all the way through, personally, because, well, as much as I'd say they don't want to kind of go in with draws, it's still the fact that, you know, it's a safe result. If they don't feel comfortable on here, if they don't feel as though it's their best map, play for the draw, play smart. We do see Winnie the Pooh popping up again into the eyes of Duguez. And they are only houses away. It's literally going down your back street and, you know, peering out. Chill out, back street, boys, it's fine. You know, just down the back streets here. And you can see a couple of shells have come through, but no connections. No one's really making the move, though. Would there be any need to?
I wouldn't be any need to at all. I mean, they've still got 4 minutes left on the clock, so they don't have to rush anything at this point. We've seen games won in the last second. First couple of shells trying to connect onto Mikizia. They'll take 1 each, although Phoenix has a lower alpha damage. Mikizia also hitting his second shell, but only managing to track Phoenix, and he's taken another one. That was by probably a 110, actually, taking him down to 661,356 coming out from that 5100. He's going to have to try and retreat. He's down to about half HP now. A little over half HP, so he's got to get himself out of there. And Agriel's also taken one. I think we're seeing a push from DeNova.
Yeah, they certainly are. Team WD are trying to get back into it. Mikizio is being denied to help out as DeNova are flooding towards Team WD. 505 being taken down, 1128 already. Bad news, the first target of Team WD as the rest of them flood towards them. DeNova, Agriel is in trouble, 406. Mr. Chef is now singled out. Winnie the Pooh to one side, Agriel to the left. He is surely going down, 214. He's been dealt with by Agriel. Where is Duggars when you need him? He needed that fire cone to help him out out so much earlier on. 399, here's bad news, here's Ostap Bender. The 110 coming around from the back from Nicholas Black, laying down some connected fire towards Ostap Bender. Duggez is on 10 HP. He's a dead man in a tank right now. Nicholas Black being focused down. He's down to 258, no, excuse me, 484. It's Ostap Bender on 258 as bad news will deal with Duggez. Now Nicholas Black being down to 213. He's out there by Agriel. And well, that execution from DeNova was right on the mark. He was right on the money, I've got to say. And the last bit of exchange really going down between the two T1s who are just kind of dancing around there. Phoenix trying to catch on to the quick little Bont who's trying to get away, bless him. It's a little bit of a David and Goliath feat going on here. I don't think he's got much of a hope in hell. Bont will fall down. Phoenix taken out by Blink, and now only 505 stands against a huge army of DeNova. He's being pounded left, right, and center. Left on 324 HP. Bad news is his first target. Misses the shot. 178 will take him out of there. And, well, there we have it. You can see a little bit of the team kill towards the end just for the sake of it. And that was a big, big bit of play coming in from DeNova again there. Really running the clock all the way down almost. Yeah. And I think it caught Team W off guard. They thought, well, this is going to be a draw. Let's dig in. Let's play safe, but shouldn't really happen. What do you think caused that push to actually begin?
Well, it was because Makizio on that 5100 went to try and deal with Phoenix. He did a pretty decent job. He took him down to 661 in his T69, but that allowed DeNova to push into the city because they had so many tanks there. They pushed up the one line. They had the kind of engagement, the tactic they wanted to do down to a T, pushing in, getting the flank on, and really just finding all those Team WD guys, putting them in the middle of that village area, in that kind of square in the middle of the city, and then just chicken shoot, just taking them down one by one, focusing them out perfectly, and it worked a treat because Makizio couldn't get back into position quick enough in his 5100, which he needed to do desperately. I think if he had been there, it would have been a different situation. It would have been a different situation. Team W would have taken that one, but that's the danger of when you don't take a T69 on Ensk, you can kind of force all sorts of strange situations. So that was a clever bit of play from Dino, reactionary, kind of reacting to the moves of Team WD. And seeing that they made a mistake and just capitalizing on that perfectly. But because of our new point system, our new rule, we will be moving on to our 5th map, regardless of the fact that Team WD have now gone 3-1 down to DeNova. So our next map will be Mines, which we haven't seen so far. We haven't seen that much of it in Season 2. And not even at Gamescom, so it's always interesting to see this one. Yeah,
I love seeing Mines, but let's jump into the tank picking because it has just trickled through. It's starting to begin. But yeah, I missed watching Mines, to be fair. It's such a great map. You see some really exciting stuff on there, and we just didn't get to see it that much. Why do you think?
I think it's probably pretty much down to the fact that artillery is kind of out of the game. I mean, if you're going to take it from the north, then you get quite a big advantage because from the south, the artillery, it's got the whole kind of, well, the north, you can push your tanks onto the hill pretty quickly. You can get the good positions pretty quickly. From the south, the fact that artillery always can get the more cover, can always provide the more damage. Now you don't have artillery, the south becomes a little bit too much of a disadvantage, although the map is insanely balanced anyway. I just don't think that the team kind of like being thrown off guard a little bit. But that's the thing. We are going to be. I think the team's a little bit confused.
Yeah, well, it's a new season, there's new rules, so they're not quite used to obviously having to play all the maps because by all rights now, DeNova have won this. This is just for the sake of playing it. They have to play all 5 anyway because it's the best way to do it. Now, whether or not Team WD can kind of keep themselves together, if they just go for some crazy picks and get it over and done with, or maybe it's a time to get your practice in because you'll never get as good a practice as in an official game. No matter if you're playing as seriously as you can, it will never be quite the same. There's never as much on the line. So for these guys now, it could be just, this is practice time. Let's go for a little bit of a strategy we're considering. Let's try it out here. This could be where it works. It's up to them. It's down to them to kind of test the waters here. As we said, DeNova have won this, but it's not completely over for Team WD. They can still try, work back a respectable scoreline because sometimes it does come down to the points. It can come down to all these kind of things that come into play when the score at the end of the season is so close. And we saw that in Season 2. So what are we seeing so far?
MX1390 T1 from Team WD, T69 T1 from the side of DeNova. I believe DeNova starting north, Team WD starting from the south. So bear that in mind in terms of tank picks. T69 perhaps a little bit better on the southern position because of the way the map works. So just waiting on the side of Team WD to pick next. I'm expecting probably AMX3019 and T1 as well, or they could go for that T69 and T1 combo. So just waiting on that one. But I believe, you know, Team WD, as you said, could try something completely new. As well, they have lost this one already. They've gone 3 down. Obviously, out of 5, that gives them the majority, so they win. So yeah, new tactics could come out here. This is where the proving grounds could come at, the stomping grounds for these two teams. The training could come into effect. But we're going to have to wait and see. T69, T1 will be the pick from Team WD, just waiting on DeNova to pick. So what do you think? Do you think, you know, DeNova, having won this, will be trying the new tactics, or do you think Team WD, having lost this, will be the ones trying the new things?
Either side. It's time for them to test things out, if possible. Maybe try things that they wouldn't necessarily do in official games, but now you have that little bit of leeway towards the end. You go, okay, let's test it, see how it works. And you get a feeling of how it works against specific teams as well, because no matter if you play in practice matches, for example, against these very teams, they'll still hold back things because they don't want to show their full hand. So it could be very different here. I want to see how they kind of go about this. It'll probably be a very normal game, knowing my luck, but I feel as though if they're going to try anything new, if they want to try any tactics that may not be typical, it's here that they'll try it.
Yeah, indeed. But tank picking has concluded. It'll be a triple AMX90, double T69, double T1 standard lineup from the side of DeNova. And I think the same comes out from the side of Team WD. I think they've actually picked 3 T69s, 2 AMX3090s, 2 T1. So obviously 1 more T69 for 1 less AMX3090 than DeNova. So we'll have to see how that kind of exchange changes the things. I mean, it's just about the player, I think, as opposed to the tank in many respects, especially between those two tier 8s. They are so insane in the right hands. But at the moment, DeNova being the superior team, now 3-1 up against Team WD, as you said, this could be the time when they try a new tactic out. Although I think, you know, they don't want to show their new ones out for the sake of it. You know, this is being broadcasted. The other teams will be watching, so they don't want to be doing anything too surprising, anything too insane, which could potentially give away their secret amazing tactic.
Special tactics. What can you say? We'll find out to see what they go for, really, at the end of the day. It's all about choices and how they want to go about this. We might actually get a little bit of glimpse as to how these guys practice and how they, you know, get themselves prepared for the next couple of games. Because bear in mind, the next games we'll be seeing are only on Thursday, so it's not like it's far away. This is the best practice time for these guys. This is the only moment they can really play in official games where pressure is on, where they can, you know, work everything out. So hopefully they'll be getting, you know, pretty sorted soon. I'm just waiting on them to give us the nod, say they're both ready. And they are. So let's get a little bit of an introduction video from the one, the only, Joe Miller.
Mines, the original and best World of Tanks 7-on-7 map famed for its incredible tactical opportunities. A small map being 800 by 800 meters. The map has 3 primary routes of attack. The left flank through the water, the middle area and the town side. The key position on this map is the middle area, as it provides great firing positions and areas of attack for the team that holds it. The middle area's primary entrance is the road passing through the middle of the map. It is essential that the teams take key areas around the hill, both of which are situated just below the hill, the north side and the south side. These locations can provide for some amusing tactics. The hill isn't the only means of attack on mines though. There's also a housing area towards the east side that has a fair few routes of attack and provides great cover for advancing tanks. The water area can be an option for teams, however the soft ground makes it very hard for tanks to traverse rapidly but leads straight to the opponent's base.
Thank you very much, Joe Miller. Nice to have you back here. Anyway, let's get into the action. What are we seeing so far?
DeNova going straight for the hill, not messing about at all, and that goes the same for Team WD. I think these two are just going to go crazy. I don't think they care too much. They are going to just go for the same insane tactic. Agriel and YR getting up there first, Mr. Chef, and Dugez not going for the bait, not going for them too. First couple of shells trying to be connected. Dugez does manage to avoid that one, as does Phoenix. But now DeNova have the advantage, they have the upper ground, they have the hill, which on mines is such a key location, although not quite as unbalanced as it was before, when if you had the hill, you had every single advantage on mines. Now it's a little bit more balanced. Which team has the hill doesn't necessarily take the win, but Team WD trying to spread tanks out here, there, everywhere, trying to find a way into DeNova. Phoenix is down to 1-1-2-3, but what do you expect from Team WD?
I have no idea, if I'm honest. They look like they want to dodge bullets and get in there as quick as possible and do the damage themselves. 505 split off down, around the main hill there. YR caught a glimpse of him and stopped that push happening too quickly. Duggez is dying to get into the action. He just about avoided one shell very early on. And the rest of them playing quite passively. The T69's in usual position. And the 3090's doing what they do. So it's not a crazy game. We're not seeing them, taking KV5s and just sitting randomly around the maps. It's still your normal minds, but I want to see what they can do here. Duggez looks like he's literally chomping at the bit trying to get ahead. He's just caught a glimpse of bad news. Going to back away from that. Doesn't want to receive any damage from those T69s. Other than that, pretty standard start.
Pretty standard start indeed, but Ron's starting to Ed Forge in that T1. He has got Ostat Merner, the MX-1390 behind, ready to provide any cover he does require. But I'm surprised that these two teams haven't got more aggressive, to be honest. Although the beginning was pretty aggressive, Ostat Merner does take down Balint, 7 in that T1. Now give Ron the necessary room to breathe so he can get behind this rock until he is unspotted. It takes about 10 seconds, depending on the range, to become unspotted. But yeah, Nicholas Black also trying to find some spots out in the T69. They have got 3 of them, so definitely got the burst damage, the potential to do a lot of damage against DeNova. And I think, both these two teams are competitive. They won't wanting to be losing this one regardless of the results. But now Mr. Chef trying to find his way up the hill. Pretty much a massive fail on his part, though.
Yeah, it's not gone well for them, has it? It's gone very poor. Oh, Nicholas Black here to save the day. Good, ramming up the rear helps everyone in the team. Anyway, 505 trying to get up on top of that hill. And we are going to see if that's going to really make all the odds. YR not quite onto it yet, but he was the player on top of that hill, on top of the mound. Trying to keep eyes on that. And they're still failing parlously. I really have to go back to this action. I was going to give you a view of the overview of the map, but look at this.
It's like the slowest trying to get up the hill I've ever seen. Usually it's like a quick and easily executed thing, but Team WD have a knack of getting themselves stuck in awkward situations.
Do you like it quick and easy?
I do.
Oh, 505.
Fail.
Oh.
Remember on Abbey when one of them got stuck and the other one tried to help him out and got stuck as well?
They don't do very well. It's not quite ruined yet. Oh, he's giving it another try, bless him. Go on, son.
Do they realize they have to get over?
Go on.
Oh.
Go on. Look, he's good. It's the tank who could.
He's gone in the wrong direction. There's only one direction up that hill.
You're a Harry Styles fan, aren't you? I knew it. I
Don't know who
knew
that
you
is.
were. You love Harry Styles. You're trying to grow your hair to be like his. I'm sorry we're getting distracted, guys, but right now Team WD aren't actually managing to put themselves on top of a small ledge. So it's a little bit distracting. They're going to give up on that and pretend it never happened and back away and ignore any of that happening. And right now you can see the rest of the DeNova side appearing behind them. 505 should be punished for his poor attempt of trying to climb up a hill. Right now, though, he may not be able to move, but he certainly can aim. It's Mr. Chef to claim the kill onto our set Bender. But the rest of the fire now being focused out. The rest of the sides are now folding in towards Team WD. Phoenix going low. Nicholas Black receiving the fire. Bad news getting into the action. Shell does come through. Doesn't connect, though. Phoenix down to 174. Surely Duggez is going to finish him off. Yes, he does. Takes him out of there as Agriel will come around. Bad news finding Nicholas Black, though. And now Mr. Chef and 505 getting in a little bit in trouble. Agriel not allowed to pounce down yet. 505 has to deal with YR on his own, but here comes Agriel falling down the hill. Mr. Chef taking him low, but right now Agriel does have the more HP, but does he have the firepower? Mr. Chef, 152. He is out of there. Agriel will claim it. YR got the other kill. And now only a couple of members for Team WD stand, but are they going to be enough to take down the likes of Bad News, Agriel, and YR?
No, I don't think they are. 3 against 2, and they're both reloading. Or Bad News on 189, though. It could be a game over for him if he doesn't be careful, and that will bring it to the even Stevens. Bottas Kirk does take down Winnie the Pooh in that T1, so that exchange coming down could allow DeNova to put themselves in the cap, but YR's charging forwards. He's going to try and ram Bottas Kirk out of the equation. Doesn't manage to do it, so he'll just have to shoot him out. 26 to 25 at this point. Ron's pushing forward, trying to distract Duggez, but look at that. McKeezy sitting on the hill, still on 135-0 in that T69. He'll undoubtedly have the reload. That will mean YR has to try and retreat and get himself out of there. It is now 2 against 2. Duggez does take down DeNova. 2 MX-3090s against a T69 and AMX-3090, and if I would put my money on it, McKeezy is still on full HP. Duggez still on 671. Despite that good push by DeNova, I would say that Team WD is looking very promising on this one, and they could possibly take the win on Mines, just because they managed to react despite failing miserably to get on the hill to pretty aggressive and perhaps ill-thought-out move by DeNova.
Yeah, so we are left in this 2v2 situation now. You can see the Makiazio still keeping eyes on that small village down to the east of the map, and Duggez in that T69 position almost, just trying to keep eyes on And they're just going to wait and find out what can go down here. I don't know what we're going to be seeing because this game's a little bit crazy. It's not quite normally what we get to see in the WoT Pro League, but it's always fun to see. Makizio getting a little bit itchy, wants to go rolling down. Whee. And he's made his way off there. So Makizio on the go, as is Doug. No, Doug is not moving yet. He's still happy being a bush.
But it is important to remember that if this does come down to the fact that you kind of have that switch up at the end of the season where how many rounds you've won against the other team comes into the equation. Let's say two teams on equal points, 6 wins apiece or whatever, how many wins apiece, 11 wins apiece, let's say, like Evil Panda Squad. Then how many times you won against the other teams comes into the equation. So that could possibly get them the spot they need. So you want to be winning this round regardless, because you will be kicking yourself if you just threw away a game randomly in the first match day of the season. So that's what they'll be keeping in mind. Undoubtedly now 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock. We'll have to wait and see if DeNova can pull themselves back into this one. As I said, if it does come down to the result against your opposition, which decides your final season standings and if you qualify for a potential €50,000 first prize pool place, then you want to be winning this one. But they haven't got much time to bring themselves back. Agriel and YR kind of separated themselves on the map a little bit, which could mean a better HP pool from Makizio, and Dugez could possibly easily be able to focus him down if they manage to catch him out. They have pushed on the hill, which is a clever move from them. And the T69 is going to take out the initial spot, trying to get the initial spot through the middle, and the other AMX-1390 is just going to be there to back him up with the sniping. I thought it would be the other way around. The T69 is a better sniper in general, but whatever.
What do you know, eh? Anyway, Makizio is still going on the hunt, trying to find the remainder of the opposition. There is only 2 players to find. It's a little bit of hide and seek right now, and Makizio trying to keep eyes on. Obviously, they can force it with a flag cap if they wanted to, or at least try to. I don't know how long it would take with 2 tanks in there. Would there be enough time for them to force this?
If they got 2 tanks in there, it would be enough time. 50 seconds about to cap with 2 tanks. But 1, no, it wouldn't be enough time with 1 anymore. But it could force a hand from DeNova. Now you can see YR backing up Agriel. Now it'll be two of them pushing in. They're going to try and take him down 1 versus 2. Although you got to remember, Dugez is playing that AMX-1390 on the hill, ready to back him up. Oh no, he's not. He's actually joined his T69 now. So it's going to be 2 against 2 if we do have an engagement. But they're just going to retreat straight back into the behind the cap towards those houses and just wait for DeNova.
Yeah, surely they've got to force their hand. If they want to get a score on the board, yeah, they are going to be doing it. They're going into the cap circle right now, so it will be that 2v2 situation with 40 seconds left on this cap, pretty much, and 50 overall. We're going to see the final showdown going down between YR, Agriel up against Dugez and Makizio. Bear in mind, Dugez already getting 3, but now he's being slammed down to 175. Quickly, Makizio gets in there to try and defend him, get some return fire going. He's held his fire, actually, 1107 left onto him. They're going to make their push forward. They found him. Oh, YR has taken down Dugez. It's all onto Makizio. 1v2, he's in a bad way. Agriel now shows his hand. 435 left on him, but Makizio is being connected onto time and time again now, and DeNova just have to play this smart. 20 seconds remaining. Makizio missing another shot, not really connecting like he'd want to. Agriel just dancing around him, getting away, using that 1390s pace just to run rings around him and just get himself to some comfortable cover, I can imagine. GG's already being said. You can see the tier points in advance, you can see everything unfolding, and in the last 4 seconds there is nothing Makizio can do, and DeNova just rubbing salt into the wound and picking up that last map, which is going to be Mines, or at least was Mines.
Indeed, very good play from DeNova. Thought they would actually end up losing that one, but because of Team WD's bad decision to try and cap that one out, they just took it back, and that was a bad decision at the end of the day, especially when DeNova is such a good team in terms of prediction. They got themselves into the right position, focused down 1 target, got him out of the game, and then it was just a matter of running away from that point onwards. And Makizio missing as many shells as he did, which was all 4 and auto-loaded, and he couldn't reload in time. So Team WD learn a few lessons here. Hopefully they can bring that into the next games on Thursday. But not such a bad showing from them. Also, you know, got to talk about DeNova a little bit. Really stepping up here, looking confident, looking good on the maps. Perhaps we wouldn't have thought them to look good. Losing Himmelsdorf, which we thought they would win, but winning Mines, which we thought they would lose. So good to see they put some practice on the maps they're bad at, and perhaps they need to continue pushing forwards on those as well.
Well, we've certainly had a fantastic start to Season 3 here. Hopefully you guys at home have enjoyed it. It's been a bit of an up and down ride, and I don't think I'd have expected the results I've seen. Evil Panda Squad getting pushed quite early on in that first game, I've got to say. They did actually feel a little bit of pressure then. And then going on to DeNova, also feeling a little bit of pressure from Team WD. And bear in mind, last time they met, Team WD did win that game. So already, game's evolving, the team's evolving. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that. But I want to know kind of more in depth as to what you guys thought about that, because there's obviously a certain someone in the studio still. We keep her quiet and only kind of allowed to touch Twitch chat in the downtime. I said maybe let Ollie do it because, you know, it's a little bit more simple for him, bless him. But, you know, we've got to give Melly, you know, some credit here. So we've got to keep her busy, otherwise she goes a bit crazy. Anyway, guys, let's pass over to the social media guru herself, the one, the only Melly. How are you doing?
Crazy? I'm not crazy. Okay, maybe a bit.
Love you,
Well. The vote, it was pretty clear for DeNova. And 85%, well, that's a statement, I guess. And yeah, I think the people at home were pretty confused with our new rule set. They didn't know, not all of them didn't know that we have to play all 5 maps. So since my PC is dying right now, I can't check, but I think nobody guessed it right. Maybe they're typing it in now, but the early results, which I'm seeing right now, because I can't load the new ones, are all saying 3-1 win for DeNova.
Well, I guess you could be nice and give it on a 3-1 win, because DeNova did win 3-1.
Yeah.
If you want to be nice,
yeah,
that is.
Of course, I am
nice,
always nice. And
it's up to you, unless you're a horse.
That's a pretty good idea.
Punching horses.
Oh, come on, Lauren. The whole internet knows.
Every stream I'm on, I have to mention
You're
it.
just spreading it all over. The story.
Wow. Wow, Melly. Way to go. Woo!
Wow.
Spreading it all over, folks.
Come
Welcome
on.
back.
Yeah,
Welcome back,
I know.
Melly. I'm never going to insult her again, even a little bit, because I get hammered now. Dear God.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
No more
Smooth.
questions for you. No, I'm not going to talk. Just
Aw.
kidding. Questions. Somebody wanted to know about the viability of the MT25.
Oh, okay. Not viable, pretty much. It's like the slowest tank ever. Such a massive what?
Is it as slow as the TOG?
TOG, pretty much. I mean, it's comparable to that. It's such a downgrade from the T50-2. It's slow, doesn't turn very fast, it's heavy, it's a little bit too big. Viable? No, definitely not.
Okay, thank you. And what are the most useful skills for crew members of light tanks?
Well, it depends how many crew skills you have. I mean, you can get up to 11 on some tanks. So, well, on all tanks, it depends how many crew members you have. But basically, you want to be starting off with 6th sense. To start off with, obviously, you want to be knowing if you're spotted off. That's the most essential thing. Then you've got to go with Brothers in Arms, because you get the 5% crew skill. That's essential on every single tank. But from there on out, you know, you want to be getting the situational awareness, which gives you, I think it's plus 2% on view range. You want to be getting those kind of things. I also can't remember what it's called, but there's a crew skill. If you're aiming at someone, you have you keep them spotted for an extra 2 seconds. That's really essential as well. Apart from that, obviously your standard camo crew, you want to be picking as your last skill as you level it up, because it doesn't require you to have 100% on that one. So camo also very important. And in terms of equipment, keep your coated optics, binocular telescopes, depending on what map you're playing on, and obviously ventilation as well.
Thank you very much. Well, since I can't load any more questions, I'm sorry, I will ask them on Thursday. Well, thank you very much for participating, you guys at home. It's awesome to have you chatting with me, to handing in your questions, to taking part in the contests. And I will announce the contest winners in a few minutes. And yeah, see you on Thursday, I guess.
If I'm not crying by Thursday, yes. Hopefully I make it back in one piece if she doesn't kill me outside or make me cry or insult me some more. It's like I expect some poor insults from Oliver that generally don't hurt because they're barely, you know, English sentences. But Melly, no Melly, you're a horrible person. Our love is over. No. No, you're muted.
No, your mic's off. You can't do
You know
anything.
what I said right now. I talked about the story you're spreading about me. Nothing else. Like,
No, it's enough of Melly. We've muted her. We're not allowing her back on this. She's been horrible. No, anyway, we do love you, Melly. Do not worry. We'd be nothing without her. But anyway, insults aside, we've had a fantastic start to the Season 3 of the WoT Pro League. I thought Season 2 finals were pretty good, but if this is the way the season's shaping up, we're in for an incredible ride. So guys, if you do want to check out what we're going on about Season 2, make sure you go to WoTProLeague.com. It's got the entirety of the VODs. It's got just about every stat you could imagine, all the teams and all of the stories about what you're going to be watching coming up. There's some brilliant articles on there as well. So guys, if you have enjoyed it, make sure you follow this Twitch page. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, which is @TheyCallMePansy and LaughterWOT, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
There we go. Make sure you follow him as well. He feels bad otherwise. But that has been it from us tonight. We'll be leaving the stream on. If you've got any other questions, do let us know in chat. I think she just found out how insulting she's been. But we will be back on Thursday, which is the 12th of the 9th. So make sure you come back as well, because we love having you guys here. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And that's been it.